before pregnant, this is my limit for doing the dragonfly. But during the pregnancy, I can open more because now the ligaments, the fascia surrounds the joint is much loosened, much more flexible. Now I can open more. So when we practice yin, the first thing that we need to understand is about our body limitation, right? So let's say now, during the pregnancy, this is my limit. This is my limit before the pregnancy. If I come to my maximum range of motion during the pregnancy, it means beyond our normal limit, right? So how we practice the yin class during the pregnancy? What is the instruction that you can suggest for the student during their pregnancy when they are practicing the yin?
Only 80%.
Mm-hmm.
Only 80% of the maximum capability.
80%, yeah. Let's say here, find your maximum range of motion and then takes 2 steps backward. Because now we know that this is when they come into their maximum range of motion, it is beyond their limit actually. So take 1 step backward means only their limit, the range before the pregnancy. They need to take 1 step again backward because this is their limit, the normal limit, to come into the pose, to start with the pose. And because their joints is much softer, it can feel more tender surrounds the joint. So that's why maybe if you're practicing yin during the pregnancy, you need to have shorter duration holding the pose. Let's say usually you hold the pose for 5 minutes during the pregnancy, maybe around 2 until 3 minutes is enough, depend on what you feel during the pose. From my experience, because I have learned about the prenatal yoga before my study with yin yoga. So before my practice in prenatal yoga, mostly hatha. And once I incorporate the yin practice into the prenatal yoga, actually it helps a lot for the mother because most of the time they tend to become more calm and the baby also more calm because usually I will have the practice until the delivery process, until giving birth. So there's one time I got a student who asked for the yoga practice during her last month pregnancy when she was in her 9 months of pregnancy. There's not many poses that we can do, but at that time what I learned is what she needs is not about the pose, but the attention that we can give during her pregnancy. So it helped to calm her down a lot. Having a prenatal yoga class, the happiness is kind of different because, you know, when the baby born is kind of make you feel you are the part of that process. And because in my teacher training also, there's some of my students got pregnant during the training. So it's also their child tend to get close with me because the baby familiar with my voice. So whenever they meet me, they just kind of feel close because they still recognize my voice. So that's why I always said I have a lot of children, yin children. Because many of the students got help a lot through the yin practice because let's say they couldn't get pregnant for quite a long time. Some of them couldn't pregnant for 15 years, but after the training, she got pregnant. And maybe because the practice helps her to release some of the stagnant energy. And, you know, because they see me as the teacher in the class, they also tend to share everything with me. So it makes me feel to become a part through their pregnancy. So it is something that can give you happiness as well. So that's why I hope a little information that we share now, maybe you have a friend who are pregnant, and maybe you can offer a little practice for them to help them to maintain their condition. It is something that we can do as a yoga teacher, as long you understand what you should avoid during the practice and what you should encourage them to do. The page 37 until 38, the two types of the practice that we can do during the pregnancy. Maybe it can be a dynamic form or static form. The dynamic movement kind of gentle flow, or the static movement it can be we practice in hatha way or yin way, that we hold the pose longer. So when you do a more flowing movement, you can, let's say during the second trimester, the body will suit with the flowing, gentle flowing movement. It also can help with the energy flow and emotional flow in the body. So you can give a little flowing movement, but on the third trimester, because now the belly quite big, so it's very hard for them to do a flowing movement. So usually I will give only a static form of the practice, let's say in hatha way or in yin way. So that helps to prevent the mother from injury, because if we move in flowing movement, it requires a lot of alertness in the mind also, because their joints get loosened during the pregnancy, move faster. It means it can injure the mother. So that's why during the third trimester, maybe we will stick to the static form of the practice.